Hi, and welcome to Talk Straight Bible. I'm your host, Rafina Antonetti, and today we're going to continue with the women of the Bible, and we're up to part 5. Today we're going to talk about Hannah and how she prays for a son. And the Hebrew word or the Hebrew name for Hannah, it means favor or grace. And she was the wife of Elkanah, a Levite. Elkanah not only had Hannah as a wife, but he also had another wife called Peninnah who had children. And Hannah was barren. She had no children. And in 1 Samuel 1, 6 through 7, it says, "Her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord has shut up her womb. And as she did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat." That word adversary that's used in this verse is Tasara, and it is used here to show a female enemy. Peninnah was Hannah's Tasara, or adversary, and she made her feel so worthless because she didn't have children that Hannah wouldn't stop crying. She stopped eating. She would weep constantly and was in bitterness of soul. In fact, the Hebrew word that is used to describe Hannah's weeping is bakah, which implies lamenting and wailing as though for the dead. The Bible tells us that 1 Samuel 1, 9 and 10, "And Hannah rose up after eating in Shiloh and after drinking. And Eli the priest was sitting on the seat by the side post of the temple of Jehovah, and she was bitter of soul, and prayed to Jehovah, and weeping she wept." So we see here that Hannah goes to the temple, and in deep anguish she prays. She's bitterly weeping, and she makes a vow. So 11 through 14 says, "And she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head." Eli observed her mouth, and as Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard, Eli thought she was drunk, and he said to her, "How long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine." And Hannah told him, "I am deeply troubled. I am pouring out my soul to the Lord." Now, realizing that she was praying, he says to her, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked him for." So as we know, God opened up her womb, and she did not dedicate the baby until she had weaned him 2 years or 3 years. So the first thing we see here is that she made a vow, and she was about to keep it. The second thing is that she was about to give her son, Samuel, which means God has heard, her only son, back to God. And the third thing here is that Samuel became the first prophet of the nations. So 1 Samuel 2:20-21 says, "And then Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife and said, May the Lord give you children from this woman in place of the one she dedicated to the Lord. And they went to their own home. The Lord visited Hannah, and she conceived and gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the boy Samuel grew before the Lord." So here we have Hannah, a housewife, a godly woman, a woman of prayer, a woman of integrity, a woman who kept her word even when it hurt. That is so difficult to do at times, right? When you make a vow and then you think about it again and then go, well, I don't want to do this. But it is better to keep your word and be a person of integrity, even when it hurts. So God showed her favor and grace. And we cannot outthink God. He does what he wants when he wants. He not only blessed her with the 1 child, but he gave her 5 more children. Eli blessed them, and God honored that word and blessed them. So from Peninnah's harsh treatment of Hannah, we discover how a thoughtless, unloving word of ours can give sorrow to others, how necessary it is to guard our tongues. James 3:9-10 says it best. With it we bless Adonai and Father, and with it we curse people who are made in the image of God. From the same mouth comes blessing and cursing. My brothers and sisters, these things should not be. And then from Hannah's conduct under such provocation, we learn that the heart of God is a comforting retreat for someone that is sorrowful in their soul. Whatever our particular sorrow may be, God waits to undertake it. Hannah cried her trial and her yearning to God in prayer, and she teaches us something about the necessity of intercession. Her silent heart prayer is compared to Psalms 19:14, which says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer." Where Eli was concerned, though he was the high priest, he misjudged Hannah, and we need to learn not to be too hasty in our conclusions. Too often, we wrong others by misinterpreting their motives. In Hannah's mild and dignified defense of her character, we learn how to defend our rights in all humility by understanding what God's word says. Ephesians 4:2 says, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love." So she could have really been very, very upset with Eli for thinking that she was drunk. But she dealt with it with humility and just let him know that what she was doing was praying silently within herself. And then Proverbs 22:4 says, "Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor and life." And so God did, gave her 5 more lives. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I want to end with Hannah's prayer, because when I read this, I was so blessed by it. And I'm sure that you're going to be blessed by these words. In 1 Samuel 2:1-10, this is Hannah's prayer. "And Hannah prayed and said, My heart has exalted in Jehovah. My horn has been high in Jehovah. My mouth has been large over my enemies, for I have rejoiced in your salvation. None is holy like Jehovah, for there is none except you. Yea, there is no rock like our God. Do not multiply your haughty words. Let not arrogance go out from your mouth. For Jehovah is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed." So let's be careful, folks. "Bows of the mighty are broken, and they that stumble grid our strength. They that were full have hired themselves out for bread, and the hungry have ceased, while the barren has borne 7. Yea, she who had many sons has languished. Jehovah kills and keeps alive. He brings down and causes to go to show. Jehovah brings down and he gives riches. He brings low, yea, he lifts up high. He raises the poor from the dust. He lifts up the needy from the dunghill to cause them to sit with nobles. Yea, he causes them to inherit a throne of honor. For to Jehovah are the pillars of the earth, and he sets the habitable world on them. He keeps the feet of his saints, and the wicked are silenced in darkness. For man does not become mighty by power. They who strive with Jehovah will be smashed. He thunders in the heavens against him. Jehovah judges the ends of the earth and gives strength to his king, and he exalts the horn of his anointed. How great is our God, that we have someone who loves us, protects us, he keeps us, and provides for us. And he has our back, no matter what. And the last laugh was on Panea, because God proved himself once again that he is faithful to his saints. God bless you. Until we meet again, Shalom.